Hello world, what is up? Welcome to Build at Home. I'm your host, Matt Forte, and I'm coming to you from my home, as I believe also is our next guest. But before we jump in, before we get started, we've been starting all of our shows talking briefly about nokidhungry.org. I don't know if you're aware, but millions of children are losing the healthy meals they depend on as the coronavirus closes schools nationwide. Actually, according to their site, approximately 641 million meals have been lost. Now, the good news is No Kid Hungry has a plan to feed them, but we need your help. So head over to nokidhungry.org, take a look at all the amazing work that they're doing, and see if you can pitch in and help out. Thanks, guys. Okay, our next guest is incredible. Is mother, actor, author, activist, co-founder of My Kind Organics. She has a new film, the dark comedy Bad Therapy, which was originally scheduled to hit theaters right about now, but can instead be seen on VOD this Friday, April 17th. Please welcome back to the show the always awesome, the one and only Alicia Silverstone, everybody. Alicia, hello.
Hi.
Oh my goodness. So excited to have you there with us. How are you doing? How first and foremost, how are you holding up? How's life inside going for you?
I'm doing really, really well. I'm
Good.
so lucky to be healthy. I feel very grateful. And my son and I are just enjoying, those really luxurious mornings where you get to wake up. We lay in bed and snuggle and giggle and hang out with the dogs for hours. And we go, how is it already 11 o'clock? We've only made breakfast. What have we done? And we literally laid in bed and made breakfast.
That's incredible.
So
That's
that
fantastic. Yeah.
wonderful, yeah. And
Yeah.
my heart goes out to all that are struggling with the illness and people who've lost loved ones. I did lose a friend, and I have tons of friends who've had it and they've been
Sorry.
fine. But so my heart goes out to all of them. I'm working with a few different organizations. There's a really cool GoFundMe that I've been working with. That's fighting. It's called Frontline Responders Fund, and
Mm.
it's on GoFundMe so that you can help because we're sending our brave soldiers, these nurses and doctors into the battle without the right gear, so they are
Mm.
getting it to them in a really efficient, fast way. And then also my friend Christian Siriano, who has been making masks. He turned his
I
entire
saw
studio
that.
into a mask factory, right?
Yeah.
So helping him get the word out and supporting it, obviously. And also, you were talking about feeding people. We are feeding the food insecure with this organization called Support and Feed. And they're an amazing organization because not only are they feeding people healthy plant-based meals, which is good for their bodies,
Yeah.
and given the virus and wanting to stay as immune strong as possible, support your system. But that's also, we're in a climate crisis as well, right?
Yeah.
The UN gave us 10 years to turn this thing around. And before there's irreversible damage. So, choosing foods that are earth friendly, because 51% of climate change is agriculture, animal agriculture. So plant-based foods is the way to go for your health, for our planet, to protect yourself when you want to not get ill, all of that.
100%. And to that end, there's been a lot of really fun, great posts on your Instagram coming out of your kitchen. A lot of the fun meals and sharing those moments with your son, which has been so much fun to watch. Have you
Thank
guys been trying out any new recipes, challenging yourselves in the kitchen? What's that been like in there?
It's so much fun. I mean, my son really loves cooking. So one day, he's been in the kitchen with me since he was very little and always been cooking with me and, aiding, helping me. But one day he just sort of said, Mommy, go in the other room. And when he came, what are you doing? And then he came out with this extraordinary plate and he's so into making it beautiful. I don't really make it very beautiful. I make it taste good.
He
He does.
loves plating. He loves plating. I've seen the posts. Yeah.
He paints it up beautifully. And so that's funny. And we've been really perfecting our pancakes and our French toast, to be honest.
Nice. Very
um,
cool.
yeah, because we have the time to do that. When you're
Yeah,
not in school, I can't do that one in the morning because I have to get up at like 6:30 every morning for him. So
totally. Have you guys been navigating the whole homeschooling thing like everybody else as well and kind of trying to figure that out, like digital classes and helping with homework and stuff like that? What has that experience been like?
it's really sweet. We do these. So he goes to a Rudolf Steiner school. So media is not it's very much discouraged. We try hard not to have him be around any media, and that's
Right.
the concept of the school. We're not perfect, believe me,
Yeah.
but we all try. And so what the teacher gives you some assignments online, and then you execute them, and it's really sweet. And they're most of them are, like, this is what he was doing the other day.
Yeah.
I couldn't find him for 1 second, and he was outside jumping on the trampoline doing his math. He was doing 3 times 3 is this, and and I thought, he's doing that on his own. This is so strange. And then he was painting outside, and he was knitting. These are all the
Oh my
things. And
God.
he was wood whittling,
No
where
way. How
yes,
old is he?
he's 8. He made a
He's
bow and arrow yesterday and he shot it. And just from whittling wood in his, so that's the kind of
That's
stuff.
incredible.
This is not his schoolwork. This is just this is what they do in his school. So he sort of,
Right.
it's part of what he is in his system. So it's really, really sweet.
It's incredible. I'm 35. I consider myself pretty creative. I don't know that I've ever whittled anything in my entire life. That's amazing.
Hi. I just look at him and go, oh my God, you're so far ahead of me. I don't know what's going to happen. It's amazing.
That's why. What did he whittle? Was it a little like a little figurine, or was it the bow and arrow? Was that what he
He made
whittled?
a bow and arrow out of a stick from the
Yeah.
garden, and then what was it? I guess it was I have to find it. What the heck was it? But but it bowed. The stick was bowing, and then there was a straight part. I don't know what he used for that. And then he tied it, and then he whittled a piece of wood into a arrow so that he could shoot it.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And also, like, if zombies ever happen, like, Bear is ready. Bear is like super prepared.
Arrow was going to hurt anyone. It's not a perfect arrow, but it worked.
It's prototype. He's 8. He's got plenty of time to figure it out. That's still incredible. Very, very cool. All right. Outside of the whittling and the trampoline stuff and what's going on in the kitchen, have you guys been trying? What other family activities? Like, have you done a big movie night? You get everybody together, get the dogs together. What have you been doing together, like as a unit?
We had a jump rope contest yesterday.
Nice.
Where I said, Bear, let's see, you jump as fast, see how many times you can get the thing around you, and then mommy will do it. We'll like trade off like a battle,
Yeah.
And I definitely lost, but we did it for about 20 minutes, and it was so fun. It was a way for me to get exercise and make him think he was just playing with me, which he loved to do. And so we had a great time doing that. We watched the 1930, the film Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So that was a special thing because we don't. I try really hard to have no movies and TVs in the house for him. So when we do, it's a real special thing. And so we watched that, and that was so sweet. Such a good movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That one holds up. It's a really interesting approach, and I think especially now, one of the big things everyone talks about is what are you watching, what are you binging. So it's actually, I really appreciate you sharing all this stuff that you guys are doing together. That honestly doesn't really touch too much on that. Like, that's not the center of it.
I don't have any time to watch anything on TV, sadly, because being a mom and having a child out of school and working still, it makes it nearly. There's just no time in the day. So I've watched
nothing. Well, I mean, to that end, you talk about how much stuff that you're how many plates you're spinning at once. This is actually something we've all been talking about, and that is, how are you practicing, mental self-care? How are you staying focused and present and maintaining some semblance of sanity amongst all of this craziness?
Well, I think that I just do. I feel really, I know that I'm really lucky to be so healthy. I know that I have a little gorgeous little boy staring at me who wants to live and be happy. And I want to too. So we just, I do what I can to make change in the ways that I've told you about with all these different organizations. And I continue to try to help people boost their immune systems with my, I wrote the book, The Kind Diet and The Kind Mama, and I have my vitamins, my Kind Organics, and my website, thekindlife.com. And so what I'm trying to do is just really support the idea that our health is in our hands, and we can really make a significant difference in our lives through the food that we choose every single day. And that food is also responsible. Those choices you make 3 times a day not only affect your energy and your mood and your sanity, but it also affects our planet and the starving children. We're talking about hungry, right? And kids. there's 2 million people who die a year from hunger. And that food, there's not a lack of food on the planet.
Right.
We have enough food right now. We waste a lot of it and we feed a ton of it to animals. And then it is an inefficient use of resources that in the end makes very little food. And that food then turns around and makes everybody sick. So, you've got a 1.5 million people a year who die from heart disease and cancer that are very much food is at the core of those problems. Yeah. So we're just killing people with the food choices that we're making and the way it's so unsustainable. We can't do it anymore. We have to turn this around for the climate and for your sanity. So, when I think about being a mom and how to keep myself balanced, if I don't sleep well, then I'm going to be really impatient and grumpy and I'm not going to have fun with my kid. And then the whole world feels really dark and everything's bad. Yeah. But when I eat well and I sleep well, everything, I can be so patient and present. So I truly believe that the kind diet, this plant-based lifestyle that I have, this delicious, yummy, indulgent lifestyle that I have that's inexpensive and easy for everybody to do is the core foundation of my sanity on every level.
Yeah. For sure. You certainly, it's not the first time I've heard that yeah, like what you eat has a direct correlation to how you feel and your mental state and well-being. Well, one, thank you. We're not done yet. We're not even near, but I just want to thank you for sharing all of that and being so open about your experiences and what Bear's been up to and all that stuff. It's just, I think there's a lot of value. It's why we're even, still doing the show. It's just to kind of see how everybody's doing and check in and make sure everyone's all right. So the important thing is you guys you're healthy and you're safe and you're doing really well. So I'm happy to see that and grateful for you for sharing that. So thank you for being so open about what's going on there. We talk about people staying busy and people talk about what are they watching? How are they distracting themselves? You talk about a distraction. You've got a new movie coming out. It was originally going to be in theaters, but right in light of everything going on, it's going to drop on VOD this Friday. Bad Therapy. It's you and Rob Corddry. How did this all come together? What was it about this story and Susan, the character here, that got you involved and piqued your curiosity here?
Thank you for asking me that. I read the script maybe a year before we started shooting it, and I love the script so much. It's Nancy, who's the writer. Mm-hmm. She's also married to the director of the film. But she had written this story about us. I don't know how much of it is her true story, but it's definitely based on a true story.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. We'd have to check in with her about which.
That's an insane revelation, having just watched that film.
I know, right?
Wow.
I think not creative with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. So the script was just juicy. I mean, these three characters, these three leading characters, played by Rob Corddry, myself, and McHale Watkins, are just really juicy parts. So when I read the script, I just thought, I want to play that part. My character, Susan Howard, gets to do so much. And that was what drew me in. And then a year later, the project kind of went away for a while. And then when it came back, Rob Corddry was attached to it. And he's my buddy. We've been friends since we did Butter together. We played husband and wife in Butter. And we had, went away. We had, we had such a good time on that together, and we've been kept up. We had Passover together a few years ago.
Oh, no way.
And he's just so lovely. So of course I wanted to do it with him, and I still loved the part. And because what I love about this part is that, we were married to each other, and my character decides it would be a good idea for us to go to therapy. And we are really in love, and we're really doing well. But, she's got some concerns, but in general, they're really happy. And quite quickly, this therapist manipulates them so much that she sets out to really ruin their lives. And she does. And what I love about my part is that she's this normal woman who's got it all together. She's got a daughter, everything. She's got a husband she loves. They're very still attracted to each other. Like, they're doing great. But she slowly starts to lose her mind. Yeah. And she becomes completely unraveled, and she pulls a knife on her husband, like you do. So, like you do. And so she goes completely mad, and I love that. I just love, it was a juicy part for me. It was a lot for me to get to do.
100%. And it looks like you guys are having a lot of fun making it. It is a dark comedy, so it does very expertly straddle that line where it is grounded, and there are some like unsettling moments, but there also are some laughs and some really funny stuff there. How do you, as a performer, find that balance and keep it grounded and keep it real, keep it funny, but also hit those dark comedy beats? Is that as challenging as I think it is, or talk to me about that process?
I'm a little bit naughty in that I just sort of blame, to me, that's like the writer's responsibility.
Right,
'Cause
right.
my, my job is to make it as real, bring to life in the most
Got it.
real way, I think, what is written, right?
Mhm.
And, and believe in it and commit to it in such a serious way that when you step back and the circumstances are all put together, it's hilarious, right? So I don't, that might not be correct, but that's how I do it. So I don't
That's
really try to do any funny. I just
yeah.
try, I just commit to it and believe in it. And so it was funny. I did have to say sometimes to the Nancy, the writer was on set with us.
Mhm.
And sometimes I would say to her, like, did I get too intense?
Yeah.
Is this okay? Is it still funny? Because I would be crying and screaming and furious.
Exactly. And out of context, how do you know if that's going to play the way it needs to, or if it's and that's when you have to trust your writer and your director for sure.
Yeah. And she would say, yeah, I think it's hilarious. I'm like, okay, good.
This was Williams. So her husband, the director, is actually he's a big producer. He's done a bunch of stuff, but this was looks like at least based on IMDb, it's his first feature like as a director.
Yeah.
So what was that vibe like? Were they very collaborative? It sounds like so. All right, Nancy was there. So how was it working with them on their first feature?
They were, they're both really, really lovely people.
Mm.
And he, Bill gets so excited, which is really nice. So he's kind of like a big cheerleader. He just gets so, I mean, when I, one time we were doing a scene and he was just like going crazy. He was having so much fun. So, but I think he's also a really good listener. We had a really good talk early on about how it was most comfortable for me um, to work,
Mhm.
and he was so responsive to that, and so was his wife. She was really interested in it, and so they just were really lovely. And I saw him over time get more and more clear in his. It was so
Mm.
interesting to watch. Like he really, became. Some of by the end, some of his direction was so specific and so interesting and helpful, and I thought he did a really good job.
That's very cool. You mentioned that you and Rob go back for a little bit, and then have you ever worked with Michaela before, or was this you guys was it your
No, but
first
we
time?
are friends. So
Okay,
we because Rob and her did a movie called In a World, where I mean
mhm.
they're incredible in that movie. And then we met through, we all have Lake Bell as our sixth degree of separation.
There it is. Okay.
I worked with Lake on Mismatch 100 years ago. So yeah, so she's our connector. So we all went to New Orleans for a weekend for her wedding, and
Oh, cool.
we've spent a lot of time together in the years.
Did you guys ever? I mean, when you have a film with a tone as specific as this, I don't know that they usually leave a lot of room for improvisation, but like those scenes where you, Rob, and Michaela, like those sessions, did you guys ever mess around, especially with Rob and his comedic chops and like his improvisational chops? Did you guys mess around at all in those scenes, or did you stay closely what was on the page specifically, like we were talking about, so you can nail that tone?
I think both. I think
Yeah.
the words were there. We didn't
Mhm.
have a problem with having, we had really great words to say, but I think we all improvised in our but sometimes we improvised with words for
Mhm.
sure. And sometimes Bill would ask us to.
Yeah.
And like we would riff. We would just sort of riff at the end of things. Sometimes we would riff in the beginning, sometimes we would riff in the middle. But in general, we when we were doing the scenes to the page, we were still just because most of the time
Mhm.
we were there's so much playing. It's like playing tennis with each other, sort of, you know, j- just because you're going to say this line, it doesn't mean you have any idea how that line's going to come out. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? We're all alive and present, and that's what makes it so fun with this group of actors.
For
So, yeah.
sure, for sure. Well, the film, like I said, I got a chance to see it. It's outstanding. It's really great watch, and it's dropping on VOD this Friday. We're in the home stretch. I got to let you go in just a second, but I would not be doing my job if I didn't bring this up. This year of all years, it is the 25th anniversary of a particular film that you made that kind of defined a generation, and I'm talking, of course, about Clueless. And I bring it up again, 25th anniversary. It's a big year for it. That movie exploded when it came out. It was like instantly iconic. It was pretty early in your career. I'm curious, was there something from what I imagine was a wild experience? Was there something that you learned that you kind of carried with you throughout your career over the years? Having something like that happen in the early stages, did you bring any of that with you? Be it something philosophical or technical, just something that to this day you still think of or hold on to?
Gosh, that's a deep question. I'd have to think so hard on, and I don't know my time or the answer right now.
I'm
Um,
so sorry to drop that on you on the way out the
I know
door.
it's a good one. I just don't know if I remember right now, like what I took from it that I kept bringing along. I mean, I'd have to really think about it.
I'll tell you what, you got the rest of 2020 to figure it out. Let's do this one. What's a funny story from set? Let's go with that one.
My favorite story, which is probably not funny to everybody else, but
Yeah.
I rescued a dog named Samson, and
What?
I had rescued him along the way on a movie I did called True Crime,
Okay.
and he was on set with me, and he would sit in the front seat with the driver Wayne Campbell, my driver, who back in the day where you had drivers who took you to work, and he would sit in the front seat, my dog, like this with his chest out. He was like Pit Roddy mix, and one day he was on set and Wayne was bragging about how Samson loved him so much to all these people. And Samson lifted his leg and peed on Wayne. And it made me laugh so hard.
I mean, that's a form of affection from a dog in a way.
He was like, I owe you.
Dominance, but like it's affection.
He loved Wayne so much. He really did. But it was just like, why did he pee on him? It was so weird.
Just to let everybody know that Wayne was his. That's
Yeah.
why dogs do that. It's just territorial. And again, I think a sign of affection. That's the way.
Yeah.
Like when a bird poops on you and it's good luck.
Yes.
Something we say. Last thing I'll ask you. I was looking up. There were previously, before the world was thrown into a state of complete disarray, there were a lot of like plans around this being the 25th anniversary. There were a lot of people that were going to do screenings and all kinds of crazy fun stuff. Obviously, less likely to happen now. But like, I don't know if you keep touch with everyone from that cast. Have you guys talked about like a fun like internet watch party to commemorate the anniversary? Like maybe raise some money around it or something like that, and get everybody together and do like a massive Zoom party or something. Has anybody like thought of that or talked about that?
No, but that's a really good idea. I'll throw it into the mix and tell her.
That's yours. You can take that one.
I'm going to tell them you did it.
Hey, if you guys need help planning it, we're here. We'll help you figure it out. But I know I'd tune in. I'd watch along with you guys. I think that'd be fun.
That would be so fun. I'm going to ask them if they could do that.
Yeah. All right. Well, internet, if it does happen, you're welcome. Alicia, I'm going to let you go. I've taken up so much of your time. I want to thank you for a million things. First of all, again, as I said earlier, thank you for sharing your experiences and what you're going through right now. I'm so happy that you're doing well and that your kids, you're doing great and everybody's happy and healthy over there. And that's awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep posting those awesome recipes and videos. I think they're very helpful. I want to thank you for hanging out. It's awesome to have you here and chat for a little bit. It's really nice to have you on the show. And before we get out of here, mention all those organizations you were talking about at the top of the show, where everybody can go get more information.
One of them is, Christian Siriano has, you can donate to his fund to make more masks. There's Support and Feed, which is the one that feeds people on the front line and people who are food insecure. But then there's one that's called Frontline Responders Fund, and that's on GoFundMe.
Perfect. And we started our show, and as we always end our show, talking about nokidhungry.org. And if you're watching this, look, it is hard out there, and we get that. So please don't feel bad about anything. But if you happen to be a person in a position that could give back, these are all just great places for you to go take a look and see if you can pitch in and help out a little bit. All right. And if you need a distraction this Friday, Bad Therapy is going to be dropping on VOD, and it's starring our awesome guest, who I will thank once more for being here. And wherever you are watching at home, make some noise and join me in thanking Alicia so much from the bottom of my heart. Had a blast. I hope you're having a great time over there. We'll see you next time when this all blows over. Come to New York. Come to the studio. All right.
Thank you. I will for sure. Thank you.
All right. Thank you again.
Bye.